Have it. I'm going to start Psalm. And since it's the beginning of the year, I'm going to start with the beginning of the book and read Psalm 1.
I love it.
And the title given by this Bible is The Two Ways. Happy are those who do not follow the advice of the wicked, or take the path that sinners tread, or sit in the seat of scoffers. But their delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law they meditate day and night. They are like trees planted by streams of water, which yield their fruit in season, and their leaves do not wither. In all they do, they prosper. The wicked are not so, but are like chaff that the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. Happy words for Happy New Year.
Mm-hmm.
What did you say your Bible gave it as the title of
The Two Ways.
this? Under Contemporary English Version, it says The Way to Happiness.
Eat these all day long.
Yeah,
They are so delicious.
yeah, I see why people stand in it.
Mm-hmm.
This is really, that's made with real ginger.
There's a video
Okay,
of
see, then I'm already giving up on my New Year's resolution.
video online about birds.
And when I look at it this way, we skinny people can eat
Shows
just.
their offer.
That's all I look at.
Again, this guy's this gets through what he
They could have made it to the fourth,
I
and
mean,
people
he's
thought
like-
they did that long.
Those of us that are not out there don't care. Oh my, these are wonderful.
Mm.
You're lucky you got it.
I have made it a tradition since David came. I don't know if y'all know the story about me and David and the Green Cake.
Mm-hmm.
So I've made it a. Do the rest of y'all know the story? Tom and I signed up on the meal train week they moved into town, and we took a meal, and I took half a prune cake. And he wasn't there when I delivered it. Jane and Malik were there. So David tells the story on himself. He said he walked in, they told him the dessert was prune cake, and his reaction was basically, oh crap. Yeah, it sounds disgusting. And a new job, I've got to lie to a congregant before I even get started. He took one bite and went, okay. So that year at the work of the hand, I wasn't going to do anything. David fills out a sheet for me at work of the hands for a prune cake and bids on it. And then comes back and bids against himself with notes saying, the first one said, I'm hungry, and the second note said, I'm very, very hungry. So if he doesn't get one at work of the hands, I give him one at Christmas. So where was I going with this? No idea.
Sorry.
That was a
Good
great
story.
story. It is a great story. It is a great story just for the sake of the industry. Plus the bakery and.
Sarah, welcome to my world.
Yeah.
I do that all the time. Why'd I come into this room again?
Hey, Sarah. Did you read the note with your Tupperware?
Yes, I did.
It's true.
Yeah, so Nancy bids against David sometimes. A couple of years ago, you paid $50 for one because he kept jacking up the price. So
Yeah, those cakes are wonderful.
yeah, so she won the auction a year ago.
Yeah.
Reminded me recently that she had not collected. So yeah, so thank you for returning my goodies. So
That's a big cake.
well, it doesn't fill this up, but that's a very handy cake carrier. So anyway, okay,
That's great.
David, we're starting on chapter 21, and he is David has just escaped from Saul with the aid of Saul's son, Jonathan.
And Saul's daughter, first from Saul's daughter,
Yes,
who he had married.
yes.
That's Saul's initiation.
Yeah, you want to do a little recap of last week?
No, here I am, sorry.
No, I'm happy for you to do that. Do a little recap of last week because most of these people weren't here.
If I remember. All right, so, Saul, David was getting more and more attention. Remember, the women were singing, Saul got a few thousand, David got tens of thousands, and that set Saul off. So he starts going after David. So David's running around, the area trying to escape Saul. And Jonathan's helping him, and they had this elaborate scheme for shooting arrows, making Jonathan look like he's doing target practice, shooting out these arrows for David to know how bad things were. So that's kind of where we are. Is there more? No, I think that's where we ended was the target, this kid out there in the middle of the field, Jonathan shooting these arrows out.
But
He was running around collecting arrows.
and his wife.
Oh, then the wife made like a dummy in the bed using the
Yeah.
household idol.
With
Put
little
goat hair on its
on
head.
top,
Make
they
it look
came
like
to get
David was sick in bed.
Yeah.
No.
When the guards came in to take him away, all they found was this dummy in the bed, and he had escaped out the back of the house with her help. And she's Saul's daughter, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
she was helping.
She was taking David's side.
But then when she went to speak to her dad about it,
They didn't include
any of that
in the movie.
And that one,
Oh, yeah? Oh, okay.
come back to bite her later.
Ferris Bueller Incorporated. That. Yeah.
But it's David's wife. I forget her name. It's
Something with
the
a
only,
M.
it's the only time in the Hebrew Bible that there is a statement about a woman being in love with a man. That's the only time in the Hebrew Bible. It says that she loved David. That's the only time.
Okay. So, trying to figure out where I'm going. So if somebody would read in chapter 21, verse 12, verse 10, verse. We're not sitting in this chair.
I'll do it.
Okay.
All right. So David came to Nob to the priest Ahimelech. Ahimelech came trembling to meet David and said to him, "Why are you alone and no one with you?" David said to the priest Ahimelech, "The king has charged me with a matter and said to me, 'No one must know anything of the matter about which I send you and with which I have charged you. I have made an appointment with the young men for such and such a place.' Excuse me. Now then, what have you at hand? Give me 5 loaves of bread or whatever is here." The priest answered David, "I have no ordinary bread at hand, only holy bread, provided that the young men have kept themselves from women." David answered the priest, "Indeed, women have been kept from us as always when I go on expedition. The vessels of the young men are holy even when it is a common journey. How much more today will their vessels be holy?" So the priest gave him the holy bread, for there was no bread there except the bread of the presence, which is removed from before the Lord to replace by hot bread on the day it is taken away. Now a certain man of the servants of Saul was there that day.
Let me stop you right there.
Okay,
Um,
yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, that's
right. That's
yeah.
good, right?
yeah.
Okay. So, David, this says David asked for 5 loaves. One of my commentators said 5 at this time was frequently used in lieu of saying, "Give me a few." So we don't know if he asked for 5 or a few or whatever. And it was bread made to sacrifice to the Lord. It would have been 12 loaves, and they would have stayed on the altar. The way I read it was a week, I guess, or
Something like that, yeah.
until the next week when 12 more loaves would have been brought and replaced them. So this is sanctified or holy bread.
Is it called shoe bread? Shoe bread? Shoe bread?
In the old, in the King James Version, they
Okay.
use that term.
Okay.
Yes. And so the priest is afraid of David why are you here and why are you alone? And if you're alone and you look like a vagabond, is King Saul after you? And am I going to get in trouble for helping you? So he's a little intimidated, maybe a lot intimidated, and therefore is looking for a way to give David the bread, but it's holy bread, so he's not supposed to. So that's how he works his way around. It's like, okay, I'll give it to you for the young men as long as they are ritually pure. They haven't had sex in a few days. So that's what's going on kind of behind the scenes.
So what do they do with the old bread? What's the purpose of this? Loaves of bread that never get used and then replaced.
Nobody said. I have no
It's
idea.
usually food for the priests. The priests are allowed then to eat the holy bread.
It must be pretty stale.
That was what I was thinking.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
I guess you'd have bread soup or something.
What do we do with stale bread? French toast.
And
So after a couple of days, you can't even use it
Can't
for
even
French
tell
toast.
it.
For French
Like
toast.
a week. So yeah,
Oh, just a week. Yeah.
If it doesn't have preservatives in it, it's hard.
This is a little bit different.
All right.
It's a little bit different. It basically says, give me 5 loaves of bread or anything else you have. Meaning the bread's not, to me, that means the bread's not nearly as important as just having something.
Something to eat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it minimizes the importance of the bread.
Mhm.
They just want something. So,
I also thought it was interesting thinking, I didn't realize that there was sacred bread in the Hebrew tradition. I knew about the animal sacrifices, but I didn't realize that kind of ties into Jesus consecrating, this is my body broken for you, do this in remembrance of me. I mean, it's a tie-in.
Yeah, because in the temple.
Jesus never said that. Jesus never said, "My body broken for you."
We did.
Now a single ancient scroll has that in it. That got added sometime in the Middle Ages.
Oh, okay. Well,
He did say, "This is my body given," which, I'd love to have a whole class or two on the Last Supper and all that stuff, but he never said broken.
Okay.
Even though it's said from the pulpit.
Yeah. Become part
It's-
of the tradition.
Become part of the tradition.
Right. But in the temple, there is, remember when I brought in the temple thing from Worship and Wonder, there is a separate little place for the bread
The bread.
and the table, specific little pedestal or something that the bread goes on.
and in the notes in my Bible, it says that this bread, called the bread of the presence, symbolized God's presence among his people as well as his loving care that met their physical needs. The bread that was replaced was to be eaten only by the priests on duty.
Oh, okay.
They must have good teeth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
So starting with
well,
7.
no, because I want whoever.
Oh, you got one more?
Let somebody, yeah, because I'm gonna go all the way into the chapter with somebody
Okay.
else. I don't know if that's 8 or 9.
7.
I can pick
Okay.
up at 7. How far do you want me to go?
Into the chapter.
In the chapter, okay. David asked Ahimelech, "Don't you have a spear or a sword here? I haven't brought my sword or any other weapon because
This
this."
seven.
you
Oh,
missed-
Yeah,
sorry,
go back
sorry.
to 7 because we need to know this
Sorry.
guy's name.
Sorry. Now one of Saul's servants was there that day, detained before the Lord. He was Doeg the Edomite, Saul's head shepherd. David asked Ahimelech, "Don't you have a spear or sword here? I haven't brought my sword or any other weapon because the king's business was urgent." The priest replied, "The sword of Goliath, the Philistine, whom you killed in the valley of Elah, is here. It is wrapped in a cloth behind the ephod. If you want it, take it. There is no sword here but that one." David said, "There is none like it. Give it to me." That day, David fled from Saul and went to Achish, king of Gath. But the servants of Achish said to him, "Isn't this David, the king of the land? Isn't he the one they sing about in their dances? Saul has slain his thousands and David his tens of thousands." David took these words to heart and was very much afraid of Achish, king of Gath. So he pretended to be insane in their presence. And while he was in their hands, he acted like a madman. making marks on the doors of the gate and letting saliva run down his beard. Achish said to his servants, "Look at the man. He is insane. Why bring him to me? Am I too short of madmen that you have to bring this fellow here to carry on like this in front of me? Must this man come into my house?"
Okay. Something I forgot to say earlier. The story that David's telling to the priest about how he's on a secret mission is just a lie. He's fabricating stuff to make himself look good, to get what he wants. Not the first time. Well, maybe the first time.
I think this was the first one the
Yeah.
commentators noted.
Yeah.
This
This is the first, but
time.
not the last.
Right, not the last time David lied.
Yeah.
Mhm. But he's doing it because he's fleeing Saul. I mean, it's sort of a bit of
Yeah, but,
self-preservation, perhaps.
Wouldn't it serve his purpose just as well to tell the priest, "Look, I'm in trouble"? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
So I mean, he really elaborates. I've got men coming to meet me, and they've been without a woman for at least 3 days, and I mean, it gets to be something. Now let's talk about the word ephod. Generally, when we run into this word, it is some type of linen priestly garment.
I remember us talking about it several Sundays ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here it is not. It appears to be some sort of maybe an idol. And one of the commentators said, this actually could have been a graven image of Yahweh, which is, just blasphemous because Yahweh is like, no, it breaks one of the 10 Commandments. But we will see it later on in that it is used for divination in terms of trying to determine communicating with God. And it's also interesting that Ahimelech has Goliath's sword. Where did we see Goliath's sword last time? In David's hand, chopping off Goliath's head.
Yeah.
So how did Ahimelech get it? We don't know. But it was pointed out that was, was this an act of God? How did it get here?
Well, it also could be because this whole story is, the texts were very ancient, needless to say. We're talking 5,000 years ago. And it could be in a compilation of a bunch of different, a couple of different authors. So easily.
How long after David kills Goliath are we talking? Weeks, months, years?
There's no way to know. They didn't date it.
Yeah, they didn't have the computer.
They should know. They should timestamp everything.
I would guess at least a year.
No, it's got to be more than that because
I'd say
David was almost a kid
He was a boy, yeah, or
when he
teenager.
killed
Goliath.
And
Yeah.
his wife now and everything. But he could be at least 50.
She missed it.
Oh, what did you say, John?
Oh, okay, you have to share it now. Come on.
Having a wife will age you. I can know how that's true.
I have a spare.
No.
We have a spare room if you need one.
Think of the cats.
Excuse not the gray hair here.
You're a person that before.
I've got pictures with him, but I don't have any gray hair.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's been 15 years.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
had brown hair when I married that man, so I may be the person he's never.
Okay.
Back to our story.
Are you trying to get me out of your hair?
Wonder which one has the car keys.
We both have car keys, but it's his. Okay. So then he goes to Achish, king of Gath, and Gath is one of the 5 cities that the Philistines are controlling at this point. And also remember, and this is important in a little while too, that even though Saul was anointed king of the Israelites, they're still very tribal, very clannish. And Saul's really only the king of the Benjaminites, and David's Judea. So,
And isn't Gath where Goliath was from?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one reason David says, okay, if Saul's after me, where am I safest? With the Philistines. And so he goes, and one commentator said that David would have hoped to go in anonymously, incognito, but they look at him and go, oh, we know who you are. And again, this bit about acting like he's a raving maniac is another type of lie. And it's lovely reading multiple commentators, because one said this shows just how low David will sink to save his skin, to act like a madman. And another one says, to the Philistines, madmen were considered to have been touched by the gods. So
We don't know.
we don't know, but he makes himself look crazy. It keeps him from being killed, because the king says, just get him out of here, rather than killing him as an enemy king without any protection. He just looks at him and goes, he's crazy. I got enough crazy people. Get him out of here.
One of my commentators said that the tradition was not to harm mentally ill people or mentally unstable people. That you didn't know what you might release, because they were possessed with demons and stuff. If you killed them, then perhaps the demons would come out, and then so it was best to kind of like, just get you away from us.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah, it would, consider their mindset.
Another thing to remember is commentators make up everything like, we could write a book in this class and be as legitimate as a lot of commentators, because it's, I think this, I think that, but it's not based on facts. So,
Well, sometimes it is speculations, but sometimes the commentators have also done a tremendous amount of research. So
how do they come up with such independent, different ideas?
difference in their research.
I see.
I'm gonna say, listen to two historians on U.S. history. You'll get,
Oh yeah,
you'll get different opinions. So.
Look at two different weather.
But you just said it, opinions. That's all I'm trying to say. It's an opinion, not fact. We don't you remember when we studied the book Misquoting Jesus, and all the scrolls, and how, that was a tough book to get through, how the different scrolls have been changed through time and opinion and all that. So it is so much opinion. I think we need to remember that sometimes.
Me, Harold, though, it's helpful to hear the different perspectives, because it helps me sort of sort out it helps me sort out what the meaning is for me now. So, yeah. So there's value, for me, there's some value in the differences, but you're right. We also have to be judicious about how much credence we give to different perspectives. So.
Yeah.
I always think that it's, as you said, it's so interesting to hear the different interpretations of what's been said. These in particular, because of the amount of research they've done and the information that's their background information that they're bringing into play on their interpretation. But it also reminds me that each of us has our own walk.
Yes.
Our own interpretation,
yes.
Our own relationship with God. And my relationship with God could be very, very different from someone else's because of my experiences, my background knowledge, so what may be something that rings true with me may not ring true with someone else who hasn't had those experiences.
Right. Yeah. So it's all good.
Yeah.
All our perspectives.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was Cindy. said one time, there are many paths to God. They all get to the same place.
Right.
So, okay, chapter 22. Figure out where I want somebody to stop. Okay, who wants to read? I'll just, when I figure out where you're stopping, I'll just stop you. We'll aim for the first.
Okay, I'll start.
First, yeah, aim for 10.
David left Gath and escaped to the cave of Adullam, when his brothers and his father's household heard about it, they went down to him there. All those who were in distress or in debt or discontented gathered around him, and he became their commander. About 400 men were with him. From there, David went to Mizpah in Moab and said to the king of Moab, "Would you let my father and mother come and stay with you until I learn what God will do for me?" So he left them with the king of Moab, and they stayed with him as long as David was in the stronghold. But the prophet Gad said to David, "Do not stay in the stronghold. Go to the land of Judah." So David left and went to the forest of Hirth. Now Saul heard that David and his men had been discovered, and Saul was seated, spear in hand, under the tamarisk tree on the hill of Gibeath, with all his officials standing at his side. He said to them, "Listen, men of Benjamin, will the son of Jesse give all of you fields and vineyards? Will he make all of you commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds? Is that why you all have conspired against me? No one tells me when my son makes a covenant with the son of Jesse. None of you is concerned about me or tells me that my son has incited my servant to lie in wait for me as he does today." But
Stop there. Okay. So just a couple of comments. They're not exactly sure where where the stronghold is that he's holed up. I want to talk about Moab. David goes to the king of Moab. Why would he choose that particular country? What's David's lineage connected to Moab?
Ruth, Obed, that group.
Yeah, remember the story of Ruth?
Was Ruth by Moab? Ooh.
She was, yeah.
And the last verse of the book of Ruth says that, and Ruth was the great grandmother of King David.
Okay, and they stuck Ruth in there, the chapter of Ruth between
Yeah,
the Samuel and the other one,
yeah. Even though
it
all, yeah, it's like, let's put it there. Even though if you take it out, there are like 5 books that obviously all go together.
Oh, okay.
So one commentator made that point that David may still have family there.
And was Ruth listed in Mark and Matthew's genealogy?
I think she was. I think she was in Matthew's because
Yes.
I think David mentioned that in one of his sermons recently.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I know Rahab, Boaz, the father of Obed by Ruth.
Yeah.
And Obed, the father of Jesse, and Jesse, the father. So Ruth was only 2 generations.
okay, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Pretty
so
close. Yeah.
so he could.
So close
Yeah,
enough that he would know. Hey.
Yeah. I mean, I watched Janet Linhart go to Scotland and find relatives, which just blows my mind because I can trace my roots in this country back to the 1700s. It's like, I wouldn't know where to find anybody that would even remotely want to be related to me across the ocean. But plenty of people do. So it's possible that David had kinfolk and went to find them. Okay. Okay, who wants to pick up now? Oh, one other comment. And Saul said to his servants, listen, well, he keeps calling David the son of Jesse. This is an insult. He will not use David's name. Throughout this whole section, he never calls David by name, the son of Jesse. It's a derogatory way of referring to him. But he also points out, remember I said that he basically was just king of the Benjamin tribe. He says, well, will he make every one of you captains of thousands and captains of hundreds? That all of you, will he give you fields and vineyards? You know, Saul's going to do that for his tribe because they are his tribe. But if David becomes king over the Benjaminites,
The Benjamites are pretty small.
right, you're not going to get anything from David because David's going to take care
So
of.
Saul was trying to make them think.
Right, so Saul's trying to, because none of them are telling him anything. Of course, Saul's getting kind of crazy himself, and who knows. Okay, so who wants to read next?
I'll read.
Okay,
But this is 9, correct?
starts with Dog the Edomite.
But Dog the Edomite, who was standing with Saul's officials, said, I saw the son of Jesse come to Ahimelech, son of Ahitub at Nob. Ahimelech inquired of the Lord for him. He also gave him provisions and the sword of Goliath the Philistine. Then the king sent for the priest Ahimelech, son of Ahitub, and all the men of his family, who were priests at Nob, and they all came to the king. Saul said, listen now, son of Ahitub. Yes, my lord, he answered. Saul said to him, why have you conspired against me, you and the son of Jesse, giving him bread and a sword and inquiring of God for him, so that he has rebelled against me and lies in wait for me, as he does today? Ahimelech answered the king, who of all your servants is as loyal as David, the king's son-in-law, captain of your bodyguard and highly respected in your household? Was that day the first time I inquired of God for him? Of course not. Let the king accuse your servant or any of his father's family, for your servant knows nothing at all about this whole affair. But the king said,
Okay, let me stop you there.
okay,
So Ahimelech has no idea that he's been conned. So he's been called to Saul. Dog, the Edomite, is the herdsman.
Always think of Dog the Bounty.
Dog, the Edomite.
What was some of this image? That was the first image that came to my mind. Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Edomites were generally enemies of the Israelites. And he tells what he's seen, and Saul manages to miss or overlook, commentator, there's no way to know, the fact that Dog is just now sharing this information.
Yeah.
He's had it for a while, kept his mouth shut. But Saul, Saul's so worked up, he doesn't say anything about it. Okay. I want to point out something. Ahimelech is the grandson of Eli.
Oh, so he's got some genealogy of his own.
Yeah, so what did God say to Eli as Eli died?
Mm-hmm.
Who was Eli?
He was the priest that, wasn't that who they gave Samuel to?
Yes.
Yeah. And he was the guy who did make his sons toe the
And that's the point. And if we go back to chapter 2, we're not going to read the whole verse, but if you go back to chapter 2, verse 27, I think. 27 through 36, but we're not going to read all of that. Basically, God comes to Eli and says, you haven't done what you're supposed to. And I'm in about verse 33. No man of you will I cut off from my altar, to make your eyes waste away, your spirit ache. And the increase of your house shall fall by the sword of men. And this is the sign for you, that which comes upon your 2 sons on a single day, the 2 of them shall die. And I will set up for myself a stalwart priest according to my heart. And I'll build him a house, and it will happen that whoever remains from your house shall come to bow down for him for a bit of silver. Anyway, there's the curse in there that says all of the people that follow you are going to be killed. And we're about to see that curse come true. Okay, verse 16 starts off with the king saying, you are doomed to die.
Okay.
Who wants to read it?
So verse 17 or start with 16?
I can't tell.
16.
16.
Yeah.
Okay, but the king said, you shall surely die, Ahimelech, and all your father's household. And the king said to the guards who were attending him, turn around and put the priests of the Lord to death, because their hand also is with David, and because they knew that he was fleeing and did not reveal it to me. But the servants of the king were not willing to put forth their hands to attack the priests of the Lord. Then the king said to Doeg, you turn around and attack the priests. And Doeg the Edomite turned around and attacked the priests and killed that day 85 men who wore the linen ephod. And he struck Nob, the city of the priests, with the edge of the sword, both men and women, children and infants, also oxen, donkeys, and sheep. He struck with the edge of the sword. But the one son of Ahimelech, the son of Ahitub, named Abiathar, escaped and fled after David. Abiathar told David that Saul had killed the priests of the Lord. Then David said to Abiathar, I knew on that day when Doeg the Edomite was there that he would surely tell Saul, I have brought about the death of every person in your father's household. Stay with me. Do not be afraid, for he who seeks my life seeks your life, for you are safe with me.
So David is expressing remorse, and commentators say that's part of David can be just as brutal. In the future, he will kill just as many people, just as brutally as Saul did. But he vacillates, and this probably makes no sense. But when I'm reading that, and knowing some of David's history, I'm wondering, is this man bipolar? One minute he's going to kill everybody in his sight, and the next minute he's pulling out his hair and praying to God, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
You talking about Saul?
No, I'm talking about David.
Oh,
Because David flips back and forth and back and forth. And back and forth and back and forth again.
it was bad as Saul did, but
No, but right now I'm listening to one of the great courses on understanding the Old Testament, and when the guy got to this part of the Old Testament, he said, I used to like David until I really sat down and read this story in depth. I don't like David anymore. Okay. So there were 85 priests in Nob, so he kills all the 85 priests and all of their wives and their kids and all the animals. He just levels the town.
All they had left to do was sow salt.
Yeah.
He would have
Yeah.
done the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. So,
But no, it was Doeg who did that.
Doeg. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doeg. And I'm also, sometimes my mind wanders off weird places. Okay.
It's hard to imagine how one person could kill that many other people. I mean, at some point, didn't somebody just pick up a frying pan and hit him upside the head?
Yeah.
How can you just stand there and wait to be
in
killed?
Saul's mind, that's okay. That's what he wants to have happen.
Yeah.
That's what Saul wants. Everybody who he thinks of being on David's side.
Side to go.
He wants them obliterated.
But I just wonder why they didn't fight back. I mean, you've got one guy, Doeg, out there swinging the sword, and
Yeah,
why didn't some of these
What makes for a
85
great
people
story?
and their families just say,
yeah,
okay, we're gonna rush you. I don't know. I mean, it just seems weird to me.
yeah. I mean, after the first half a dozen are dead,
Yeah.
the remaining 80 have got to know what's coming.
I mean,
But yeah, like
And yet, and sometimes it's hard to know that these are the facts, but they're a story to tell us the truth. I don't know. Right. Story.
you can't take it literally.
no.
Yeah, I would say I was wondering if Doug had a, battalion of men or something with him too or something.
Oh,
But-
yeah.
Well, he was the head shepherd, so he might have had other shepherds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dog the bounty hunter looks pretty rough.
It's interesting because Saul is doing very much what dictators through history and into the future do when they assume power. The very first thing they want to do is get rid of everyone who doesn't agree with them.
Oh, that happens in corporate takeovers.
Yeah.
Two
But
companies merge, you're
When
gone.
I went
Yeah.
over to Southeast Asia and the Khmer Rouge took over in Cambodia, the very first people they got rid of were the intelligentsia and academics because they were independent thinkers, and therefore we have to get rid of those people so that I can have everybody fall into line and drink Kool-Aid pretty much, like accept what I say is right. And here's Saul saying, all right, we got to get rid of these people because they've sided with David. I have to get rid of everyone I perceive as my enemy. And he's following exactly along the lines of what we still see
Right. And
dictators do.
this commentator said, men in power have always resorted to terror and even mass murder to discourage a local populace from sheltering an enemy and to make an example of those who are suspected of doing so. Nob is only the first in a list that includes Lidis, the Czech town that Nazi Germany eradicated as punishment for harboring partisans in World War II, Deir Yassin, the Arab village that was terrorized by the Irgun, and the Stern Gang and the War of Independence that brought the modern state of Israel into existence, and My Lai, the Vietnamese village where citizens were slaughtered out of fear and hatred for Viet Cong. So he said exactly the same thing and brought it into today.
The modern day, yeah.
Right, that this wasn't necessarily the first time in history
No,
that happened.
no.
Yeah.
We can go back and see,
Yeah.
examples of it.
We don't have to go far.
No.
No.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Right.
Okay.